Welcome to the Creative Warriors Podcast, the female heart and soul of photography. Welcome back, Kaisa. What a great time we've had talking. I have a few questions. We've been talking about, using different visual elements, expression, trying to create more heart in our work, more feeling. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the more abstract ways that we get a little more emotion in our work. So one of those things is harmony. There was a quote that said, when everything in an image is working together, when in the field, it's not a quote, but anyway, when everything in an image is working together, there's harmony, right? But we also have that tension that we talked about in a previous episode. So how do you use that harmony or create that sense of harmoniousness? What are some elements that you use to do that in your work? Or do you even strive for that?
I do, yeah, because harmony for me is a lot about having elements in balance with one another, that not one is overpowering the other. I mean, you can take a picture of a sunset, but still the sunset is not overpowering the sun itself, for example. It's not overpowering the whole frame. There is some other elements that harmonize the whole thing. So harmony for me is a lot about having the elements in balance with one another, that one is not overpowering the others. Then again, tension, you can have the elements in balance in the image, but by placing them, by the placement of them, you can create positive tension and energy and dynamics into the image. So harmony, balance, tension, they all are in dialogue.
Right.
They are all there, I think, at the same time.
Okay.
But now, then
when you have a very clear subject in your frame, like I'm going to use the example that you talked about earlier in your book, where you have dancers and there's there's movement in those dancers. There are, if depending on the color, if they had like on a red, you would obviously see they would be a very strong visual subject in a frame, right? Mm-hmm. So how would you use the strength of that one element and to balance the rest of how does that fit in when you have a very clear, strong element versus the whole scene?
If the element is very strong and overpowering, I would not have it very large in the frame.
Okay.
I would probably have more of the surroundings in the image than if the element was less strong and overpowering.
Okay.
Because if it's smaller, it takes a smaller space. But if it's very strong in essence, it feels more space than it looks like visually. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Do you feel that makes that strength more because there's so much, like, it's not a void, but more empty? It's not empty either. I don't know what the word is, but it's because there's so much distance in the scene, the strength of that subject. Whereas if you tighten your frame to show more just all subject, the scene helps create that feeling of strength. Is that how you feel? Did I hear that?
Yes, and then if the scene is any way important, if the scene itself is important, then making the subject a little smaller, it balances it out with the scene itself.
Okay.
But if the scene is not important, least bit, then of course you can take like a passport image of the.
You fill it with the subject. Okay.
Yeah. But say if you have a dancer in the nature, you do want to show the nature as well.
Right.
The nature plays an important role, equally important as the dancer. So if the dancer is wearing red and it's a green scenery, I would have space-wise less red than I would have green, because red is stronger element than green. If they are equally big in the scene, then red overpowers the green. But if red is a bit smaller than the green, they are in balance. They are in harmony.
Okay.
And I think that you learn by doing.
And seeing, other good examples. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, what about feelings? Share some ideas or some things that you do to tap into your own while you're working, or to, if you have a project that has a feeling connected to it, or one that you're trying to, like the one you had where you were trying to do the community project where you were trying to talk about the trees and the emotions and the communications within the trees. So there's feelings attached to that project. So how do you, is there a process you go through, or is this all intuitive when you are composing, when you're editing, to pull that emotion, make that emotion strong in that image, or the emotional reaction to the image?
For me, it's probably more unconscious than conscious when I'm working, when I'm creating the images.
Okay.
I have a target. I want to show that trees take care of their offspring. And there's a lot of feeling loaded into that idea. But I don't necessarily have that feeling consciously in mind when I go out and start to look for my subject and where could I see that topic. But then when I come back with the material and I start to look at them, then I go into that feeling myself.
Okay.
Then the feelings come and I get emotional and this represents this and this represents that. And not anymore so much today, but earlier, I guess the time when I started to do ICM, so 20 to 10 years ago, I had very, very strong dreams, like every night, super strong dreams and super colorful. And I always woke up in the morning, I had certain color in mind. And I guess it's some sort of synesthesia or something. But I was kind of haunted that when I go out to photograph, I have to look for that particular color. And it was, if I woke up and everything was orange, then I had this urge, first of all, that I have to wear something orange, maybe. And then I go out and I have to get that same mood that I had woken up with, that the orange had brought me. And I went and looked for the orange. Very many times it never worked. I never found anything orange and never was able to repeat that mood. But I remember there was a long time that was the way that I worked. But for some reason, I don't know if it's age or what it is, but I don't see such dreams anymore. I don't wake up with those colorful feelings. I guess I've worked it through. Maybe, I don't know.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
So in photography, there's a lot of like the principles and the rules that a lot of people are taught, especially early on in the, compositional rules. And we talked a little bit about the rule of thirds. Sometimes in an image, we break those rules to create an emotion or a feel. In other words, the rule is a principle. It's not really a law. There's no, composition police out there that are going to arrest us or anything. So how important is it to get a fundamental knowledge of those principles to then know when to break them and when to use them to create the emotions that we're trying to express? Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Earlier I thought that it's crucial that you know the rules exactly so that you know to break them. And I had a very strong opinion about that. But I don't anymore have such a strong opinion. If it's intuitive that you break the rules and you didn't even know that there is such a rule, but the end result is good, what difference does it make?
Well, there's a great truth to what you just said.
Yeah. Why should you know that something must be done this way and then you can break it, rather than break it and say, hey, this looks good. I like this.
And perhaps
why do you have to know at that point that, oh, I've just broken a rule?
I'm not shooting this in the rule of thirds because I want to.
So I'm not so strict about that idea anymore, but I think it helps if you know the rules, because you can faster get to your end results when you know what you're looking for by breaking something. Like, I think straight horizon line is a good idea, good example. We all expect the horizons to be straight.
Right.
As soon as you tilt it one way or the other, the emotion and the mood, it changes completely. Something shifts. It's maybe good or bad, but it's definitely different than the original one with the straight horizon line.
I do like a Dutch tilt every once in a while, though. I don't know why. I've always liked to tilt the perspective. You know, some people are like, well, why didn't you shoot it straight? But anyway, but I there's something about, I don't know what it is. I never analyzed it, but there's something about a Dutch tilt, which is, that shift.
Yeah.
That I find fun. It's just a different way of looking at something, but anyway.
Exactly. And it can add to your story a lot. Like if there is a person in the picture and the horizon is tilted, it might tell about imbalance that the person might have, or the attitude to life, that it's not so serious. It can be tilted and twisted a little bit here and there. It can add a lot to your story. So, yeah. So I think if I know that when the horizon is straight, it creates one mood. And by twisting it, tilting it, it creates another kind of mood. I may be getting my end result faster. But if I don't know the rules, I get to the end result, but it might take me longer.
Or it's by playing you get to it rather than by following a set of, the process is more just exploration rather than an assignment, so to speak.
Yeah. And I think in this point, photography probably approaches a lot of painting, because a painter, when you have a blank canvas, every
stroke has a purpose.
Every stroke has a purpose.
Yeah.
Every direction you make, you think first, which way, that way. So when you approach photography the same way, the two of them come close together. And that maybe also, I'm not saying it is for sure, but it may be also the slight difference how professionals work and how amateurs work. So both yield excellent results, but the professionals might reach the results faster because they have more experience on what they're doing. The amateurs reach the same result, but it may take a little bit more work to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just, allowing yourself to, anything you do more, you're going to get somewhere faster, versus if you're only doing it every once a month, it'll take you longer to perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you forget from shoot to shoot sometimes. Where is that button?
Yeah, exactly.
You buy a new camera and they moved everything on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a new lens or something. So what about the use of mystery? I think, and this is just my personal take, but ICM to me has a lot of mystery attached to it, which is one of the intrigues for me. So how do you use that mystery in your work? Or what are your thoughts on that element of mystery?
I love it. I think it's a salt and pepper of ICM.
Yeah.
Really. And my theory on visualizing the unseen is part of that mystery, or mystery is part of that visualizing the unseen. And it has to do with being able to create things that were not in the original subject. All of a sudden, things appear which you never saw with your eyes. And that creates a lot of mystery. And then again, how do you do that? How are you able to technically bring those things out? Half of it is guesswork, and the other half is technique, like these light layers, texture layers, and type of movements you are using. A combination of movements create different layers and textures. And then all of a sudden you have transformed something into something else. And I feel is the mystery there. And I love it. That's really something I want to concentrate more and focus more in my work.
I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to backtrack a little because I meant to ask you this while you were saying it, but since you brought it up, I'm going to ask again. But you talked about identifying 4 words, and I find this to be powerful in all businesses when you identify your core values and all those kind of things. But you shared one of them. I was going to ask you what the other 4 were.
The first is color seeker.
Okay. That's okay.
When I studied photography, everything was done in black and white, and that was cool. That was
right, and it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It was cool. It was also because materials were
expensive,
and black and white. You are able to do all the darkroom work yourself. So everything was done in black and white, and all these black and white heroes were respected, and all the newspapers were printed in black and white, and I thought that I'm a black and white photographer. But little did I know that I'm a color seeker. And once I started to have these colorful dreams, and then I started to define these words, it was really liberating. Color is my thing. I base everything on color. So that's my first word. Forest walker is the second one.
Oh, cool.
And I go to forest almost every day. And it really charges my batteries. I can just suck the energy that the forest and the trees have, and being there in silence and looking at the birds and looking at insignificant things, which after all are really important. So forest is important. I go a lot without the camera, just for a walk and for a run and skiing and taking the dog out. And it's really, really important. I come from southern part of Finland, and I live by the sea. And sea is also important. I like the sea, but forest is my element. Old forest. Outsider is the third word.
Interesting word.
Yeah, it's kind of a pun because I love being outside and outdoors and nature.
It is a pun.
So it is a pun, but I also have felt all my life as kind of an outsider in social context. There's many situations that I just feel like this is not my thing. I go home. And I don't know why, but I come from a family of 7 children. I'm the youngest one. And kind of this outsider and the visualizing the unseen, they go hand in hand in this respect, because I have 16 years age difference with my eldest sister and myself. So by the time I start to remember things, I've been like 2 or 3 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They were 17, 18, 19, whatever. So they were always able to do things and go. They go to scout camps and they go to a dance and they maybe go to Sweden for a holiday and whatever. They go to the party. And what do? I stay home because I'm small. And it has had an effect, which I don't think it's a bad one after all, now that I realize. Maybe when I was 15 and 20, it was restricting. But now I kind of feel that it's more like building blocks for my art, now that I've realized what has been going on. And then I think my parents also, I mean, having grown up 7 children, it's a huge job.
Yeah.
By the time...
they were tired by the time you came home.
They were tired, exactly. They were tired. So I also felt a little bit unseen in that respect. Same, the next sister up from me, she feels the same. So not that I feel uncomfortable or distant from my family members. But I think I have felt a bit like an outsider as a child, so it comes from there. And then visualizing the unseen, I have definitely felt unseen, definitely.
So and I remember your artwork is giving flight to your core elements. It's almost like they're almost therapeutically speaking a language that really helps you on an inside level.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it some people say that photography is therapy. Is it something that has that profound of an effect on you?
I don't think so, because I have been doing it so long. I've been doing it much longer than having had these thoughts and having realized my childhood and all of that position in the family and so on. So I think those people who say photography is therapeutic, they may have discovered photography as they have had some sort of problem to solve. And then they realize, oh, this is my way.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
For me, I don't think it's that approach. But since I started to do these personal projects, it has helped. It has helped to narrow also things down. I don't have to embrace the whole world and all the subjects and everything, but I can concentrate on these that are close to my heart and kind of put myself into the work through these 4 elements. I think it's more of that.
Great. Excuse me. I'm going to take some water. My throat is tickling. Hate when that happens. So if you had to, just kind of to wrap up everything that we've talked about, if you were going to distill, I know we were all over the place.
So impossible.
If you were going to let's do it this way. If you were going to give a piece of advice to a newer photographer, somebody who's struggling with confidence, somebody who's struggling with seeing their work as having value, what do you want them to know that will help them to get beyond those stages of life and art? Because we all have that in art. I mean, that's just a part of the process.
It is, yeah. Well, I would like to say that, again, that follow your heart, do what you like to do, create the things that you think is fun and important. Don't listen to the outside world at that stage, but create for yourself. Listen to your heart and create what you enjoy to create. I think it's really important.
Okay.
And then
just to dig a teeny bit deeper into that, create for yourself, because I think that's super important. And I hear that a lot from photographers that have been photographing for 10, 15. I hear that a lot. So ultimately, that's the destination. Sometimes you have to kind of flip and experiment and try different genres and all these different things to kind of figure out what that is.
Yeah, definitely.
But what are some keys that you had? And ICM is the thing, you once you started to explore it, I have heard that it lit your heart up. So what are some of the keys to know that a person is going in a heart-based direction versus okay, I'm doing this genre, this is what I'm supposed to do. Do you know what I mean by that question?
Yeah, I understand. I think if you have a job and Sunday evening you think, oh no, it's Monday tomorrow. And Monday morning you think, oh no, I have to go to work and it's another 5 days. I mean, I love my job, but I would really rather stay at home. then you know that you're not listening to your heart. You're not doing the job that is your dream job. You do it for other reasons. So I kind of feel the same in art, that if you are like enthusiastic in the morning, you go, I can take the colors and I can take the pen, the brushes, and I can take the paper and I can start painting with this color and I'm excited about it, then I know that this is my thing. But if I'm like, oh no, I have to try to create something today. What color should I use today? Should I use a big brush or a small brush? And it's not your thing. You're doing it for someone else. But if you're really excited that, hey, great, it's another day and I can photograph outdoors. I'm really looking forward tomorrow. I can go out and photograph. Then you know that that's your thing. Whatever the outcome is, you have to remember both, that there is good and there's bad. But if you create bad, it's a process that builds for the good.
Yeah, and you learn from what made it not work.
Yeah.
So that you can then take that knowledge and then have that happen less.
Yeah, it's necessary that you do also mediocre work or bad work. It's really necessary. And like, if you're walking, excuse me, and you stumble, you trip, you're still going forward.
Yeah.
You didn't
Absolutely.
take a perfect step. You tripped over, but you went forward.
Yeah.
And that's the same with the work that you might think yourself is not so great. It's like a tripping, but it took you forward. But I think the key thing is to feel excited. And every morning when you go to do photography, you get this enthusiasm. Then you know you're on the right path. If you don't have it, then change the genre, do something else.
Excellent advice. Thank you very much. We really appreciated your time and you sharing your wisdom, your passion, all those good things with us. So thank you very much for entertaining us at the Creative Warriors. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ariel, for inviting me. I had great fun. Thanks a lot.
So before we go, share a little bit more about how people can contact you and learn about what you're doing for the photography community.
Well, if you would like to join my world of ICM photography, I have several offerings. Together, in collaboration with Stephanie Johnson and Marek Patterson, we have the ICM Network Community, which is a membership community, lifelong learning platform. We have the New Beginnings Workshop, which next starts in the summer. And then for self-study on-demand courses, we also offer the ICM Photo Academy. And all of these you can reach via my website at artistkaisasiren.com.
Thank you. Remember to subscribe or follow the Creative Warriors on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. If you have any thoughts, suggestions, or questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at Ariel at arielfaithphotography.com. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the conversation going. Stay curious and have a happy artistic journey. Thank you for listening to the Creative Warriors podcast, the female heart and soul of photography. See you next episode.